All right, guys, I'll get to the title of this one, but bear with me. I'm going a roundabout way to get there. We are all in the moment people nowadays. I think life caters to this. We don't have to practice patience near as much as we used to. We have DoorDash, we have microwaves. You can get your Thanksgiving turkey on HEB. You can use AI to get hours of work done in minutes. So I think this lends itself to what I see now, where often how we feel today, our perspective, this is how I've always felt. I'll have people come into the gym on Monday and the world's their oyster. I'm feeling great. Or whatever day they happen to do a workout and they feel great on that. And then by Thursday, they're coming up to me, I've been dragging for months. I don't remember the last time I felt good. I remember the last time you felt good. It was 3 days ago. But that's our perspective. And this is where I'm going to get to coaching. This is where I think I can add value as a coach, is adding that perspective, because we also, human condition, we tend to, I think, delude ourselves and are biased. When I do something good, it's because I did something good. I'm proud of myself. So nice job. But when I do something bad, it's the government, or I wasn't set up for success, or it's those guys, whatever the case may be. That's a very limiting mindset. Because if that's your mindset, you don't have to work on those things. You're never going to get better at whatever those things were. And we all have weaknesses. We all have things to get better at. And life is going to require you to accomplish things and do better when you weren't set up for success, when other people didn't give you all the information. Life is not fair, but life is a competitive event. And my point is going to be with this is that CrossFit and life work very similar. They both work that way. They both have a long on-ramp to get good at. It is going to require a lot of solitary work on your part and facing things you don't want to face. And those are the same skills you need in life and CrossFit. And that's why I think it is the best training methodology, because it gives you a well-rounded, capable fitness. And as human beings, we need to practice those skills to be well-rounded, capable human beings. Again, we didn't have to practice patience as much now back in the day. And I think patience is not just the ability to wait, but the ability to behave while you wait and still function. And that can be tough for a lot of us nowadays, so we don't have a chance to do it. But the nice thing about all these other things being made more convenient for us is it lets us focus. We can be more effective, more efficient, and get more done in life. But instead, I feel like some of us get so much more hectic in life with all these things and distracted. And as I'll go through this, my point is, again, if you can't have perseverance and delayed gratification and satisfaction with CrossFit, you're not going to last. And that's why I think CrossFit will always be a niche thing, because a lot of people they'll come in, they won't be able to do a pull-up, I'm out. But everybody can go to the gym and run on a treadmill or bike. Everybody can do a kettlebell swing with some kind of weight. Those things are all great, but you're going to hit limiters in here that you're going to have to go back to the drawing board, back and start working on and come back to. And you guys all know what I'm talking about. CrossFit is the long road that lets us get good at a lot of things over time. It is delayed gratification. The world knows this, though. And the world wants to give you the quick, satisfying physical experience. And so that's where, originally it was Spartan races and Tough Mudders. And now it's High Rocks. And, we have all these different events. I know of 2 more coming out. The one's at UTSA in the summertime. I know of another one coming out, and these are great. I want to have all of them because I think they inspire people. I think people, they get a taste of that physical work that's fun, and maybe that can lead to you going down the path that eventually not all of that path is going to be fun. If you're going to stay on it, it's going to be very frustrating at times. But these things let people do that. However, and I love them. Let's say we took a group of us, and you got the CrossFitter, the Olympic lifter, the gymnast, the runner, and we're going to all do one of each of these events. Tough Mudder, High Rocks, all these things. We all know you know where I'm going with that. The CrossFitters can do better at all of them, not because they do those events, but because they do CrossFit, because they're going to be the most fit. The High Rockster is going to hit walls on stuff. The runner is going to hit walls on stuff that the CrossFitter won't hit. So these other ways are all great ways to express your fitness. I don't think they're the way to create your fitness. And let me compare that to CrossFit Open 26.2. 26.2 for the scaled option had pull-ups as the second gymnastic movement, which for 90% of America is a hard stop. I can't do it. Why can't we do it? Because we're talking about the heaviest 5 and 10 pounds in CrossFit. What do I mean by that? I always used to say the guys would say the heaviest 10 pounds in CrossFit is the difference between a 20 and a 30 pound wall ball. That 20 pound I can throw around, that 30 pound feels like I'm trying to throw a cannonball at the wall. I will actually say though, the heaviest 5-10 pounds in CrossFit is the excess weight on your body when you're trying to do a pull-up. And you guys may not have noticed about me because it's subtle, but probably since 2021, my weight goes up to about 192, 193 in the winter. And then come time right before the open, I'm down to about 185. Why do I do that? Because I know too how much 5 pounds makes a difference on my pull-ups. I know I'm going to be doing pull-ups in the open as a test. And I know the best way for me to get better at those pull-ups with the strength I have now is to lose a little weight. But that requires delayed gratification on our parts. And guys, a lot of people will come into CrossFit, do an open workout, do 26.2, realize I am really far from a pull-up, and they're out. Never going to do it again. And I think that says their attitude towards life. And those people are always never going to be as capable as they could have been, both physically to do a pull-up and as a person, because they don't take on these things that are going to take a lot of work. In CrossFit, you have to come to the point where you can't do the pull-up in 1 year. Work on them all year, and maybe you get the chance next year to do it again. Last year in the last workout, I bombed on the wall walk workout. I've been working on wall walks all year for the chance that I might get to do them again, and I may not even do better, but I've been working on them, and I'd like the chance to work on them, to get them out there again. But there's no guarantee they will be, and if there are, there's no guarantee I'll do better, and I've had to work on them a year with no reward along the way. But guys, if you've ever done this in CrossFit, when you work towards something for years and months, and then you get your first 400-pound deadlift, 500-pound deadlift, your first pull-up, your first handstand push-up. That feeling of satisfaction, there's no way to shortcut that kind of satisfaction. It takes a long time to get to, and there's so many people in life that never realize that, especially on a physical basis, because of the world we live in, and CrossFit gives you that opportunity, but it takes perspective, it takes patience, and a lot of times I think it takes somebody else helping you have that perspective as you're going through it. Some people will say, well, I didn't know, my parents didn't know, I was overweight when I was a kid, now I'm overweight, it's not fair. Yeah, agreed. Life is far from fair, and you guys know that, but it is still a competitive event you're trying to get good at. And let me give you an example. I grew up in the Valley, and we were very poor when I was growing up. I got made fun of it a lot for it. But I remember when I was 13 or 14, I think it was 14, for Christmas, the Salvation Army came to our house. And be honest, I was embarrassed. But I realized at that point, yeah, we are poor. And then as I got older, when I left Chicago to come down here to Texas again with my then fiance, Janelle, I had big plans. I had not demonstrated anything that I was going to accomplish all those plans, other than that I just left a good job and was moving down to Texas. And I will never forget that Janelle trusted me and was like, all right, let's see how this goes. We get here, and I can laugh about this now, but when we bought our first house, guys, nobody in my family had ever owned a house. I was wigging out when we bought our house. It just seemed like a really, really big deal to me. I was freaking out. Now I laugh at myself on that. And my brother owned two houses. My youngest brother owns a house. The house my parents live in is owned by my brother. But then within 2 years after that, as you guys know, as you may know, we get kicked out of our location at the gym. I've got a young child, Scarlett's a baby at home, and I'm looking at being 40, unemployed, and not knowing what to do. So what did I do at that time? Well, with Janelle's support, we doubled down. I raised a bunch of money I didn't have. We built the gym, and before we started that process, guys, I had people that had gone down the road I was going to go down, that had more money than me, that were smarter than me, that were like, Dan, don't do this. You're smart, you're hardworking, you're capable, don't do this, you're going to screw it up. There were no guarantees, but here we are. And I can tell you it feels very satisfying to get here. And that is no guarantee that it won't all be gone tomorrow. But I'm going to work to ensure it's not in everything I can do. That is my example of life is a competitive endeavor that you can't worry about. I can't worry about that a lot of other people started way ahead of me in life. They had more money. They had parents that could help them out, whatever. Because I also started way ahead of other people in life. We all start at different points. We all have different conditions. Either way, if you're going to get to where you want to go, it's going to take you doing a lot of work on your own and having a lot of patience, experiencing a lot of failures, but that is what leads to true happiness. Guys, if God decided I'm going to create a utopia and give everybody everything they want, I'm going to create Mars, I'm going to make Mars a utopia, I'm going to pick everybody off Earth, I'm going to help Elon out, put everybody on Mars, everybody has everything we could want. Within days, someone would be trying to become king or queen of Mars. And then either they would and be a dictator, or there would be other people to fight them, and either way, utopia gone. We don't want a utopia. We want to fight and struggle and achieve. When you see people that were born into lifelong wealth, do they seem happy to you? They seem very nihilistic, hopeless, and meaningless to me. The only people I know that are rich, that are happy, are the ones that weren't always and had to earn it by what they did because they accomplished something. What makes us happy in life is delayed gratification, struggling against things, and doing it. But since so many people have never done that, all they've seen is that I can't do this, so I'm not gonna. And I can't do this, and I'm not gonna. This comes easy to me, so I'm gonna do that. And that's kind of how we function a lot. CrossFit functions the opposite of that. And that's why, again, I think it is such a good way to train, because it helps you learn about delayed gratification. It helps you learn about all these things. And it's going to stop you cold in your tracks. Pull-ups are going to stop you cold in your tracks. Those wall walks stop me cold in my tracks. So for those that stay with it a long time, I think the people that tend to stay with CrossFit are people that aren't easily satisfied or kind of stay a lot dissatisfied. I would put myself in that camp. I'm very satisfied with life, but I'm not like I've arrived. I need to keep working towards it. You know who someone else who is like that is Stacy Michalajczyk. I love where Stacy is at right now in her fitness journey. I am blown away. It is light years different than when I met her. Stacy is still very far from satisfied. Why am I bringing that up? And why is this episode called coaching? Because that's where I think you need a coach with CrossFit. You need somebody else who's been watching you, who knows you, who has that long-term perspective or has the bigger picture, because they're not in you feeling what you feel right now, and can give it to you. And I can tell you, you couldn't even do a pull-up last year, and now you're pissed because you can't do a lot of pull-ups, but you can do some. Yes, that took time. Yes, you didn't do as good on that deadlift as you wanted to before, but you couldn't even deadlift 200 pounds last year. Now you're pissed because you can't rep out 250 as fast as you want. That's where a coach comes in. And also with all of this, like in life, all right, that's too much, this is too little. That's too heavy, this is too light. Those are battles we fight all the time in life. And this is why I think a coach is more important in the program, because of the nature and struggles that I've gone over here with how CrossFit works and how life works. It is best if we're not going on this journey alone, because we will fool ourselves, we will screw things up, even though we're well-intentioned. And having that other person that's like, remember this, or did you forget about that, or look at it this way. And then we keep going down the path we're supposed to go down, because life is going to throw roadblocks up. Another one, Octavio. Octavio's new at the gym, pretty quiet, great guy, hard worker. Had some rough stuff going on in life, was about to quit. And I said, Octavio, this is that time. When life happens and there's stuff happening, there's the people that quit, and two things happen. Either they never come back, which is the more common one, or they do and they forever regret the time they took off. Stopping working out when you have problems in life only makes life harder. It does not make it easier, because it makes you less capable, and you need to be as capable as you can be when life is hard, and working out makes you more capable, both physically, emotionally, and mentally. And all of those are true. So this is why I think the coach is the more important thing than the programming. But Let's say all the programming was Fran every day. So there's a limit. If the program is complete shit, then yeah, there's only so much a coach can do. But it's not really that hard to create a decent CrossFit program. But even if I had AI and I combined all the AIs out there to make the most beautiful, perfect CrossFit program, we would still screw it up on our own a lot. We'd go too hard here. We'd do too much of this. We wouldn't do enough of that. And that's how it would work out. So that's where, give me a decent program with a good coach, and that is the recipe for success, for long-term success, for long-term satisfaction, for delayed gratification that leads to a distant horizon that we never quite get to. I remember the other day, I was not in the back. Okay, so I don't have an official coach, but I have a lot of people that watch me that are experienced around me that know me, and it was something I was working on the other day. I can't remember what it is right now. But it was Coach John was watching me, and he said, remember you said you need to be more careful with that move. And I was in my mindset where I was about to force it. And as soon as he said that, I was like, yep, you're right. And that's all I needed to hear to move on. And that's all sometimes we need is that little quip. But that's why I feel like I have a lot of job security, because I don't care how good programs and equipment gets. Going down this long journey of life is hard to do alone well, and it's hard to do well without another person's perspective. We all need it. Not that I'm the all-knowing, but that's my role in this situation, but a lot of you plays that same role with me. So in the world of where life is a competitive event and it's not fair, my point will be is that one, CrossFit is the methodology that most emulates how life works with the skill set you need to get. And two, you need both good programming and a good coach to move forward. But the value of a good coach lies in that perspective they give you. Sometimes you need to go harder, sometimes a little bit less. And also when you're frustrated and down because I'm banging my head against this movement, just know that you were banging your head against a different movement last year, and next year it's going to be a different one too. All right, guys, I hope that made sense. Right on.